BMW and reliable. Those are two things that don't really go well together. Well, it's possible. Hear me out. One of the most common questions I get either on the comment section of my videos or through Instagram DMs are people asking me what steps they should take to make their BMW more reliable. So instead of having to answer the same question over and over again, I figured I'd just make a video on it. 5 ways you can make your BMW more reliable. Real quick guys, before the video begins, there's only 5 days left to enter for a chance to win my fully modified 650 horsepower BMW 335i. You can literally start the new year off with this beauty. Aesthetics, performance, and maintenance have all been completely taken care of. All it needs is someone to drive it. Don't miss out. vehiclevirals.com. Way number 1 to make your BMW more reliable is adding an oil catch can. Adding one of these to pretty much any car, not just BMWs, those that come with direct fuel injection engines, can yield some pretty good benefits. You see, when combustion occurs within the engine cylinders by the pistons, pressure accumulates within the crankcase and then it gets released through the PCV system as blow-by. Blow-by is normally made out of oil residue, also known as carbon deposits, that make it through the intake system over the intake valves and right back into the engine. The problem is that over time, these intake valves start to collect these carbon deposits and the car starts to feel sluggish. Overall, the car starts to run less efficient, in some cases lose power, and also get poor fuel economy. Using a proper oil catch can drastically reduce the amount of blow-by that cycles around the intake system. It's pretty simple how it works, and it's a very easy DIY. One hose gets connected to the outlet of the PCV system and then onto the catch can, and then a second hose goes from the catch can to the intake system. A lot of the oil catch cans that you can buy online do come with a filter or baffling system within the can itself. It helps trap the deposits there. You know, every so often, like every month or two, you want to inspect it, and if it's full, just empty it out. On some turbocharged engines like the N54, I do recommend you get a walnut blast service first for the intake valves to make sure they're completely clean, and then you add the oil catch can to keep those intake valves clean long term. I'll link an oil catch can that I recommend down in the description below. It's actually the one that I've been using on my 335i for a while now. The second way to make your BMW more reliable is to purchase an aluminum charge pipe. This fix really only applies to modern turbocharged engines, but since many of you guys are here for 335i content, I'm sure this applies to most of you. This should be your very first modification for your turbocharged BMW. Like, BMW really dropped the ball on this one by making their OEM charge pipes out of plastic. Not only do plastic charge pipes tend to warp, crack, and flat out self-destruct over time because of heat and constant boost pressure, they just don't look premium at all. Low mileage cars may not have this issue at first, but just give it time, or don't give it time at all, replace it and avoid going into lit mode. If you're planning to tune your turbocharged BMW, then I recommend this upgrade like ASAP. I mean it. Link in the description. If you do end up tuning your BMW and not upgrading to an aluminum charge pipe, it will break, you will get stranded on the side of the road, and you will become a statistic. I've been using an aluminum one from VRSF for a little bit over a year now. The car produces around 550 wheel horsepower. It still looks like new. It holds boost just fine, and it's a great value. They're really not that expensive unless you decide to pair it up with an aftermarket blow-off valve, then the price can really get up there. The third way you can make your BMW more reliable is pumping high quality fuel. Here's something not a lot of people talk about. Yes, using high quality premium fuel can actually help with the overall maintenance of your car. Not all fuel is created equal, which is why I tend not to just stop anywhere to fuel up my BMWs. I like to use Shell V-Power NiTRO Plus premium gasoline, which happens to be today's video sponsor. Even way back before I partnered with them, Shell was always the #1 answer for me, and I'm sure after I tell you guys why, then you're probably going to try your absolute best to fuel with them going forward. Cheap, low quality fuel, while it might save some time at first and save you some money, long term, the negative effects start to show up. Corroded fuel system, increased carbon deposits, and an engine's life expectancy that is pretty subpar. Shell's V-Power NiTRO Plus premium gasoline protects against all of that. 4 levels of defense against gunk, corrosion, wear, and friction. Corroded fuel lines and fuel pumps, no thanks. Increased carbon deposits, we just talked about that. That's something you do not want within your engine system. And lastly, you want as little wear and friction as possible, since that's pretty much how an engine experiences power loss over time. Shell's Smooth Glide technology helps minimize the amount of friction and wear your engine experiences by adding a thin layer of protection within the top section of the cylinder wall, which allows your car's engine to run a lot more efficiently and run like new for much longer. To learn more about Shell V-Power NiTRO Plus Premium Gasoline, I'll leave a link down in the description below. Huge thanks to Shell for sponsoring today's video. The fourth way to make your BMW more reliable is by properly warming up the car. I know it seems pretty obvious, but you'll be surprised how many people do not know that warming up your car properly before beating on it is very important. Yes, this step can apply to pretty much any car as well, but when it comes to BMWs, they seem to be a bit more fragile when it comes to this. There is no reason at all, absolutely no reason why you shouldn't properly warm your car's engine before pushing it. This is absolutely free to do and can save you thousands on maintenance. If you own a BMW with the following 3 engines, S54, S65, S85, this really applies to you 10x. Give those pesky rod bearings a fighting chance. Let the car warm up properly, be patient, let the oil circulate where it needs to go. I actually partner up with a local BMW performance shop, and I get to see a bunch of engines that were destroyed because of spun rod bearings, and they say that a lot of those issues could have been prevented if the owner just kind of followed the maintenance cycle regularly. And the second thing is allowed the engine to reach its optimal temperature before beating on it. You forced induction BMW guys, you're not safe. Make sure you properly warm up the car before you start pushing out all that boost. It's pretty simple. Allow the engine to distribute all the oil to all the moving parts and you'll have a better time going forward. I remember like 6 years ago, like a few months after I purchased my 335i, I decided to race somebody after turning on my cold N54 that was sitting there. I floored it, immediately hit limp mode. The car was experiencing long cranks going forward, bumpy throttle, misfires. It was a nightmare. Warm up your engine before you floor it. The fifth and last way to make your BMW more reliable is to install Catless Downpipes. Of course, this applies to turbocharged cars that are used for competition and used primarily on the track for obvious reasons. For street use, I recommend you get high flow downpipes, especially if you're looking to daily drive the car and you want to pass your state's inspection. You see, most people tend to correlate downpipes with more power. Have you ever thought of why that is? Well, for one, they're less restrictive because unlike the OEM ones, they don't have any catalytic converters inside of them, and a lot of the times they're built with a bigger diameter piping. More airflow means that your turbochargers work less hard since the restriction is not there. They breathe better, they spool up faster. Typically speaking, the more efficiently your turbos run, the longer they'll last. Something that us N54 guys can really benefit from since the turbochargers used for our engines tend to prematurely fail. There are so many benefits to running Catless downpipes. You get a tune, you get a lot of power, your exhaust louder, sounds more aggressive, and it helps keep your car more reliable. They also look pretty damn cool, whenever they're exposed of course. Well, there you have it, 5 ways you can make your BMW more reliable. If you enjoyed the video, make sure and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more. And as always, thanks for watching. Till next time.